Welcome to Beyond the Blog, a podcast of the Patterson Foundation. Hi, my name is Ericia Henry, and I'm a fellow with the Patterson Foundation and your host today for a look into TPF's nonprofit internship program. And to help me do this is Grace Wang, a master's student at the Lilly Family School of Philanthropy. Welcome, Grace. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Erica. Nice to talk to you. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you for being here. I'm so excited to dive deeper into your experience. So, a little bit more about the Patterson Foundation's nonprofit internship program is an initiative that exists that allows students from the Lilly School to either gain hands-on experience or apply knowledge and skills that they've, acquired during the program or even before the program. And as for organizations, this is a great opportunity for them to have more support and help with tasks and projects. So our Grace was an intern with the Venice Symphony. And today we will hear more about her experience. But before we jump into interview questions, it wouldn't be TPF if we didn't start this interview off with a question of the day. So, Grace, the question of the day is, if you could master any skill in the world, what would it be and why?
Well, thank you, Erica. This is a great question. If I have like a magical skill, I would wish I could read people's mind because I want to understand their feelings, their thoughts, especially for people who work in nonprofit. You want to communicate with people. Right? When you do fundraising, you want to know what the mission project can resonate with your donors' passion. So it could be a good skill for me, for people who work in nonprofit field. But I also think about it could be like a double-edged sword. So I probably don't want to know all of their mind, what they are thinking, if they're thinking bad about me.
I love that, Grace. And I think it could be a double-edged sword. However, I think if we could tweak it a little bit and be like, okay, so I would want to be able to read people's mind only when it pertains to work or something, or only in specific situations. I think that could be the best bet. But also I love that. And especially, in comparison to being a fundraiser, because a lot of that is relationship building and, trying to figure out what people passions are and then match them and making sure that they align, with your organization and what you want to do, what you want to achieve for, the greater good. So I love that.
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
I think for me, I would love to be able to be an effective communicator. I think sometimes we get into situations where, we think that we're communicating very well, but I think sometimes if you do not know how to, communicate with people in a way that they can digest, that they can understand, it doesn't matter what you're communicating because it's not sitting well with who it needs to sit well with. So I think that is something I legit desire now to be able to do. And, it could be fun. And it also has its pros and cons because sometimes no communication is good, but,
Yeah, yes, you are right. I like the phrase you used, effective communication. I think our goal is the same. Sometimes we don't know what we don't know, right? We thought we understand that. If we can have effective communication, it will be super helpful for all of us to achieve the goal together.
Exactly. Well, that was perfect. Thank you so much for participating and answering the question of the day. So let's hop right into some of the questions that I have for you today. So the first one that I would love to know is, why were you interested in working with the Venice Symphony?
Well, I'm really a resident with nonprofit who are mission driven, and the Venice Symphony is a mission-driven nonprofit in the Venice County in Florida. So I really admire their work. They aimed at enriching the life of local communities. They're passionate about not just hold the symphonies to the local community. They also conduct an education program to the youth in their communities. So I fully align with their mission. And my position at here is CRM specialist. So which will give me a perspective to understand how like the AI tools to support the fundraising work and how fundraising work support a nonprofit to achieve their goal. Patterson Foundation. I know all the opportunities came from there. It's a great opportunity. So it will be a very valuable and trustworthy opportunity. So I was looking forward to this, also a very supportive leader. So after the interview with her and the chair, Chris, I think, wow, I want to get this opportunity. Both of them are very supportive. This will be a great opportunity for me to learn some practical skills and apply what I learned from school to an actual work.
I love that, Grace. That is
Mm.
so wonderful. And it's so amazing just to hear that, the things that you learned in the Lilly School. And also I heard like not only the Lilly School, but also the fundraising school as well. So
Mhm.
I'm going to assume that you took some of those courses that were offered to students for
I
free.
did.
And so yeah, like I love that you were able to like take those things that you learned and actually apply that to the Venice Symphony. And I love that, you said that, it aligned with who you were and what you wanted to, achieve for in the future. So thank you so much for sharing.
My
Can
pleasure.
can you walk us through your
Mm.
internship at the Venice Symphony and share some of your responsibilities? So I know you shared with us that you help with the CRM. What
Mhm.
were some other things that you were responsible for doing during your time as an intern?
Sure, absolutely. So because my position is a CRM specialist, so I was helping the Venice Symphony to understand the CRM system they will use, which called Spectric. So this system has a lot of functions, but we need to dive in which functions. Like for instance, how we can add the donors' data into this system, how we can analyze this data, how we track donors like donation levels, their interest, which grants they donated to better analyze the whole picture of fundraising work and their funding resources. So from daily to daily, first at the beginning, I had to learn about the system, how they
Okay.
function, and what the logic of their coding system, which is challenging to me, right? I don't have IT background, but I did my research. When I and Holly, we understand the basic logic and the functions of the system, trying to make the workflow more straight line. You don't need to jump to different pages to get related data. So we talk with the vendors how we can adjust the system, how we can use different functions to support our fundraising work, how we can collect the data. That's was my work during the internship in this summer.
Perfect. And so, along with that, what was the most
Mm.
rewarding or memorable experience you had during the internship? And why was
Mm.
it memorable or important to you?
It's a great question. So because I worked in nonprofit for like over 10 years, and I
Hmm.
also ran a nonprofit before I came to Lilly Family School. I was thinking as a leader of nonprofit, how you can make your operation more effective and efficient,
Hmm.
including from like a finance, fundraising, program implementation. And I also know every work matters in even your organization is small. For instance, the CRM system is only a piece of the operation of a nonprofit, but it is really important. If the data in the CRM system is outdated, you won't have you cannot make the right strategy about fundraising. So it's very important. During this internship, I not just learn skills about how to streamline the workflow in advancement team, how to make your CRM system more productive, more easy for the users to use. And I also appreciate that my communication with Holly Anderson, the vice president of philanthropy at the Venice Symphony, she shared a lot of her experience regarding like fundraising, communication, grant application with me. So I really learned how to be a fundraiser. You have to not just be passionate or not just obsessed with the glamorous events, galas. You also need to have strategic work, like what pillars we need to have to support the nonprofit, to have sustainable financial situation to achieve financial sustainability. And also, she told me, I really appreciate that because I was in China and Holly was in the US, so we have time differences. And Holly was very flexible about the time differences. So she has to start our weekly meeting at 8:30 in the morning. I really appreciate that. She always told me, don't. I hope this opportunity is not just for you to complete your internship, but to help you to grow. I hope that we bring something useful to you. I really appreciate that. So from that, I also see how Holly, Chris, the Venice Symphony, the Patterson Foundation empower future practitioners in this field. I really appreciate this opportunity, not just by learning skills, also experience how other people being supportive to me and what I can do in the future for other future practitioners.
Wow, Grace, that is so amazing. And thank you so much for sharing that. I really just loved hearing how your experience with Holly was just, amazing. And she was really dedicated and very intentional with ensuring that, this wasn't something that you were just doing just to complete, but this was also something that you were learning from and you can take with you and it will help prepare you for your future aspirations. So thank you so much for sharing. And also, I just loved how you highlighted your connection with Holly and the Venice Symphony and Chris, and then also with the Patterson Foundation, because that is what we're here to do. Like, we want to empower the community. We want to empower, and specifically with this internship program, is empowering like the students and organizations. And what better way to empower both of them by connecting them with each other? And as I explained earlier, is that, there's benefits to both. Like, students are able to apply what they learned in the school or before, or get hands-on experience, and organizations get the ability to, teach the intern, but also have support and help with projects and tasks that they may not have the support or the time to complete when they need to. So thank you so much for sharing that.
My pleasure. Mm-hmm.
What were challenges that you faced and how did you navigate them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you reminded me that most challenging part for me is the AI tools. I saw it like when I use the CRM system, I just added the data in the system.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think much about the logic. But when I take this task, I go deeper about this CRM system because we know what our expectation about this system. I know we notice the gap. So I have to understand the logic, how they code this system, how we can like adjust the functions, which was challenging to me at the beginning. I have to dedicate time to learn the system. I have to talk with the specialist, where is the function, why we cannot find it, and why you use the logic. Give you an example. If you want to select the donor who donated like $100 in year 2024, and you need to have two logic together to select this data. So it took me a lot of time to understand their logic, but we get appointments, the meetings, online meetings, email communications with this CRM system supplier. So they were very supportive, and they explained how you can do that. They demonstrated to show us how to match the logic, how you can manipulate the system. This was very helpful, and by doing that, I also realized that even sometimes we encounter challenges in our work, but it's also solvable if you dedicate your time. You like to do your research on that.
Yes, absolutely. And that is one thing that I have noticed, I haven't been in the nonprofit sector for very long, but something that I did notice is that, that the CRM systems and can be, first of all, can be very challenging in general,
Mm.
especially when you don't have a lot of experience. And depending on which organization you work with, they can be different. And so with the differences, you have to know how to navigate them. And then another thing, what you said is like you have to understand, the way that, the organization wants to use that information, that data. So yes, but like you said, like yes, there will be challenges, but if you're dedicated enough, you can work through those things.
That's absolutely right. That's the spirit of people in nonprofit, right? Solve problems.
Right. So, how has this internship shaped your perspective or your skills as
Mm.
a nonprofit professional?
I really appreciate this question. This internship experience like inspire me to think a lot about nonprofits and my career in the future in this sector. I used to think to dream like big missions, big pictures. But by doing the internship, like specifically you focus on CRM system, right? You like adding the data, understand the functions, which probably not the glamorous work to do. You behind the scene, and you involve a lot of logistics.
Mhm.
But this experience make me realize that even I dream for big missions, make social changes in the society, but every work actually was grounded in day-to-day work. You have to achieve your goal step by steps. So like we probably think the big organizations like the UN, they achieve big goals. But for us, for nonprofit, you have to ground it in the community. You have grounded you to your daily work at here. So really put me to be a more practical person, more
Mhm.
realistic person, not just dreaming of goals. The second is Holly gave me a very good example of how being what excellent fundraiser I should to be. You have to be passionate about work. She always very passionate about work. When she talk about her fundraising, even like I understand she was super busy. She has to achieve her annual goals for the fundraising, but she always very positive and very supportive to others, to her teammates, to me. And so she was a good example. In the future, she also be my good example to me. And besides of our work, she also shared her own experience, her life with me. Then when I think back, when we have intern, I was reflecting how we treat our intern. Did
Mhm.
I give enough time to our intern? Was I being supportive to our intern? So I have a goal, like what kind of person I want to be. Now I have skills how to master the CRM system. And also by communication with Holly, by my understanding of the Venice Symphony, I understand that for nonprofit to survive, you have to achieve financial sustainability. Then I get to understand where their sources from, how they maintain their relationship with their donors. So all of these uh, either skills or experience from Holly or other people really like build the foundation for me for my future career to be a qualified nonprofit
Mhm.
practitioner. Mm.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing that. And this brings me into my last question. And I think a lot of
Mm.
it kind of reflects back to what you just shared about your experience and how this internship has shaped you. But, what is some advice that you would give to a student or a young professional that is considering, a similar internship experience?
Sure. I would say it depends on what my like peer students or future students where their goal is. If they want to be academic, to join the academia part, they probably need to understand more about the theories. But if they want to be a practitioner, I would suggest them, they need to determine what their career goal is. And when they clear about their career goal, I would suggest them to find either nonprofit foundation or whatever can help them to build their career goals, whose work or mission more aligned with their passion and their career goal. And the second suggestion to them, I would suggest them to, if it is possible, I would highly recommend them to do the internship in person, because you will be immersed in the environment of that organization. You get a chance to talk with the people. No matter what the specific job you were doing, I would encourage everyone to talk with people in that organization, either program officer, finance team, CEO of the organization, because you need to learn the whole picture of nonprofit, not just one piece of the work. Mm.
Yeah, so you shared a lot of things that I felt like was very valuable. So for a student who's interested in an internship experience, first they need to understand themselves and understand what they want to achieve and what they like. I think that's like the first step. And also you expressed that, these internships, it can be very beneficial to be in person as you can be immersed. I think depending on the setup, like what we have virtual, and we're also testing the waters on, hybrid aspects of the internship program. But yeah, it's valuable in both. Like, of course, they both have their differences where, you can be more in person and you can see people and, you can just work in person with organization leaders. There is still value in, like, sometimes people can't be in person. So, virtual internships will have to be like the next best step. And I think just based off of your experience with the Venice Symphony being a virtual internship program, it seems like what I'm hearing throughout this interview is that it was very impactful, that you learned a lot. So I think both can be true. In person is great, but also virtual is also a really great experience as well. And so with that being said, thank you so much, Grace. I have appreciated you joining me for today's podcast session. And it has been just so great to hear more in depth about your internship experience with the Venice Symphony. And so to the listeners, thank you so much for joining us and listening to this podcast today. Stay tuned, and you can please visit us at thepattersonfoundation.org. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Erica.